Live from Stanford, this is Tefilah Tidbits. I'm standing on East Main Street in front of a very recognizable building, the headquarters of the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. It's one of the buildings that people know Stanford for. I don't know if that's good or bad, but as you know, in this week's parsha, we have the famous wrestling match between Yaakov and the man who is identified as the Saro Shel Esav, the angel of Esav. But I don't really want to talk necessarily about wrestling. I want to talk about davening. So what does davening have to do with wrestling? Well, wrestling is perhaps the most contact sport that we have. You can't really get more contact than wrestling. It's all contact. When it comes to davening, the Shulchan Aruch teaches us that a person has to have a little space when they daven. So for example, if you're in a very tight spot and there are a lot of people there, then you have to give somebody some space. That if, let's say, for example, there's somebody right behind you, you're about to finish Shmona Esrei, and you want to take your steps back, you have to look back. If somebody's right there, and on your steps back, on step 1.5, you're about to step on their feet, you're not supposed to do that. Now, the rabbis give us two reasons why people need space. One is if you get into their space, they won't be able to focus. It ruins their focus. It ruins their kavanah. It distracts them and it disturbs them. But there's a second opinion that the Mishnah Berurah brings in the name of the Chayi Adam, which says that when a person is praying, the Shekhinah is in front of them. God's presence is right in front of them. And you don't want to get in between them and the Shekhinah. So when we daven, we should think about that there's something about focus. We need to be in a place where we can focus. We spoke about that last week. But we also have to remember that the Shekhinah is in front of us, that we're petitioning and speaking to God, into the presence of God. So wrestling is something that definitely should not be taking place during davening, but we should also keep in mind the spacing and the distance and the respect that we have for other people's space when it comes to davening as well. See you in Shul.